Hi, grade fours. Today we're going to be talking about a new word, plot. And a plot is just the series of events or the things that happen in a book. And we can use the plot to help us retell stories. One way that we can do that is when we're reading the book, what are the uh-oh moments that we see? That's the problem that usually happens in the book. So today, when I'm reading this book, Piggy book, I want you to think about what are the uh-oh moments that you could retell at the end of this story. And then what do you do when you come to the phew? What is that phew moment? That moment where the problem gets solved. So this book is called Piggy Book and it's by Anthony Brown. Mr. Piggot lived with his two sons, Simon and Patrick, in a nice house with a nice garden and a nice car in the nice garage. Inside the house was his wife. "Hurry up with the breakfast, dear," he called every morning before he went off to his very important job. "Hurry up with the breakfast, Mom," Simon and Patrick called before they went off to their very important school. Now, after they left the house, Mrs. Piggot washed all the breakfast things, made all the beds, vacuumed all the carpets, and then went to work. "Hurry up with the meal, Mom," the boys called every evening when they came home from their very important school. "Hurry up with the meal, old girl," said Mr. Piggot. He called every evening when he came home from his very important job. As soon as they had eaten, Mrs. Piggot washed the dishes, washed the clothes, did the ironing, and then cooked some more. One evening, when the boys got home from school, there was no one to greet them. "Where's Mom?" demanded Mr. Piggot when he got home from work. She was nowhere to be found. On the mantelpiece was an envelope. Mr. Piggot opened it. Inside was a piece of paper. "You are pigs." "But what shall we do?" said Mr. Piggot. They had to make their own meal. It took hours and it was horrible. The next morning, they had to make their own breakfast. It took hours and it was horrible. The next day and the next night and the day after that, Mrs. Piggot was still not there. Mr. Piggot, Simon, and Patrick tried to take care of themselves. They never washed the dishes. They never washed their clothes, and soon the house was like a pigsty. "When is Mom coming home?" the boys squealed after another horrible meal. "How should I know?" Mr. Piggot grunted. They all became more and more grumpy. One night, there was nothing in the house for them to cook. We'll just have to root around and find some scraps, snorted Mr. Piglet. And just then, Mrs. Piglet walked in. Please, come back, they snuffled. So, Mrs. Piglet stayed. Mr. Piglet washed the dishes. Patrick and Simon made the beds. Mr. Piglet did the ironing. And they all helped with the cooking. Sometimes they even sort of liked it. Mom was happy. She fixed the car. So, grade fours, what were the uh-oh moments that you had when you were reading? Maybe they were the same as me. When I was reading at the beginning, my first uh-oh moments were when all of the family was making the mom do all of the work. And then the bigger uh-oh moment was when she left, and she left that note, and we didn't know where she had gone. But at the very end of the story, we get a phew. Mom comes back, and the boys and the dad all realize that they need to chip in, and everyone needs to work together so that the house can stay clean and everyone can be happy. This week, when you're reading, I want you to try and retell your stories with the plot, thinking about what are the uh-oh moments, and then how do those problems or uh-oh moments get solved? And you say, phew. We'll talk soon, grade fours. Bye for now.